Whether it's
Ask a Shitty Mechanic,
moldy memes,
barcode porn,
or tales from your server.
There's a sub for that.
Welcome to the front podcast of the internet.
I'm your host, Scott.
And I'm your other host, Willy.
We're a show all about Reddit,
covering all the ups and down votes in about 30 minutes.
If you like the show, you can find more of us
on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
Or at the WNBA All-Star Game. Basketball, gimme the ball, 'cause I'm gonna dunk it! Willy, that's a really nice shirt you got there.
It's interesting that you say that, Scott. You may or may not have seen something like this earlier today.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that in a local store at the Abercrombie and Fitch store.
Future sponsor of There's a Sub for That. I wish. Maybe not. I mean, I definitely saw that Netflix documentary about Abercrombie, so maybe we want to distance ourselves.
Let's pivot away from them.
I do think that they have changed. Now, I'm wearing this shirt, and you're wearing that shirt, which is also from Abercrombie.
That's correct.
So the brand has definitely changed. There's been some differences to it, but why are we both wearing something from a brand that is objectively probably not great?
It was one of the only stores where we could agree that we liked the clothes to wear for longer than one day. Because
our friend Emily is a professional photographer. We will link her in the description. If you're local in Minnesota, you need wedding photography, you want engagement photos, new baby photos, you want to do some of those sexy boudoir photos. Emily is a fantastic photographer, local to Minnesota, and she took photos for us today.
She is local, but she will travel for
money.
Her clients. She will go for money. Yes.
But seriously, thank you, Emily, for being somebody we can, I don't know, make the show look really professional.
Yeah, and don't think that we just have this outfit. Oh no, there were several clothing changes. You are going to be in for quite the surprise when you see what we wore for our professional podcast photos.
To tell you how excited I am for you to see these photos, Scott and I, outside of just going to Abercrombie, we thought we need to look manly and butch. Alphas, right? So we went to Carhartt and bought overalls. Coveralls? What would you call those? It doesn't matter. You know
overalls.
What they are.
They do not cover all. Teaser.
Scott decided today to go shirtless. Do with that what you will.
It's who I am. My favorite thing about going into the Carhartt store is that Willy and I had gone to Abercrombie and bought some clothes. So we had an Abercrombie bag with us. And inside the store are people who are shopping for clothes because they will be using them in their everyday employment.
The two gentlemen in the back were clearly buying these for a job site.
Yes, and these are real salt of the earth people. Like, did not see the humor in us, like, saying, like, oh, these ones fit, and this looks nice, and oh, is that the right color?
We're
And
like a couple of 90s
like,
moms saying, how does it fit on your hips? Are you going to be able to grow into it?
And all these guys are like, I just want to try this on. I have to get back to work now.
I'm literally losing money by sitting here. We took up the only two fitting rooms that this place had. And Scott's like, come out here and show me. I want to see what it looks like.
Spin around. Let me see it from behind.
Oh, that looks really good on you. It's slimming. We've talked too much about Carhartt. If you want to sponsor the show, you're more than welcome. But this week in Reddit, something that both of us, I would think, are very excited for is happening live as we speak.
Literally as we record right now, we are waiting for a press conference to break. And we will bring you non-breaking news because you're going to be listening to this several days from now. But hopefully you will have heard all of the excitement.
Is news broke on r/technology that the U.S. president will reveal the first color images from the James Webb Space Telescope at the White House today at 5 p.m. Eastern as we record this.
Now, right now, it's a little bit past that, so we've got the video stream of what will hopefully be either the president or some scientist beginning the presentation. I don't know what's going on.
Leading up to today, Scott, what were your expectations? Were you excited? What did you want to see? We knew that NASA has been hinting at these photos for quite some time.
I think I speak for every single person that listens to this podcast when I say there's only one thing that I really want to see, and that's alien titties.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Can you just imagine Biden coming out there going, all right, now everybody, it's what you wanted. We've got tits.
He might not be able to say it as coherently as that, but yeah, I think it'd be really cool if we could see some sort of like distant, far off galaxy that holds the potential for life, or some further clues to how the universe was created, just a little bit closer to understanding where we came from and a better meaning of our existence.
I'm excited for the prospects that we may see images that could change our understanding of current scientific theories. We could potentially be seeing future images that will expand science beyond where we've gone before. I'm excited.
Okay, so while we're waiting for this to break, let's talk about our stories from the week. And like we said, if something happens, something goes crazy, we'll react. But first, Willy, have you ever bought a gift for your significant other?
Not once.
I know. And that's why he's single, ladies.
No. Stop. Stop. I said stop.
What I mean to say is, have you ever bought something that you felt wasn't really appreciated in the way that you intended it to be?
That's a really great question. I'm not sure if currently that's the case, but it has to have happened at some point.
I'm just going to give you an example from my life that happened. Let's say I visited a country that was across the ocean, and while I was there, I wanted to get something nice for my significant other, so I bought them a dress. And it was a very nice dress. It was from a place that I knew they liked.
Mm-hmm.
We flew all the way back. And when I say we, you were there. We flew all the way back to this great land of our own.
I remember this
Debatable.
dress. Yes. Yes.
And I gave them the dress, and they said they loved it. And they tried it on, and it fit perfect because I did my research. And then they wore it once and never wore it again. And I said to myself, I love buying you things. However, I don't think I'm ever going to buy you clothes again. I'm just going to let you do that because it's really like a personal thing with you. And the reason I bring that up is because this week in Today I Learned, Cecil Chubb bought Stonehenge.
Great name.
But he bought Stonehenge, the Stonehenge, as a gift for his wife. This was in 1915.
You can just do that?
Back then you could. It cost £5. But she hated it because she had originally sent him out to just buy a set of chairs.
How do you get that so wrong?
I know, Cecil. What the hell? 3 years later, he gave it to his country on the condition that the entrance fee would never cost more than $1 and locals could have free access.
What must he have done on his way to go get a set of chairs that he fucked up so bad? He's like, what do I get? I don't know what to get. Seriously, Todd, I screwed up. This is bad. And Todd's just like, I don't know, man. Just buy her something big. Buy her something really big. Like what?
Except he said it in an English accent.
I can't do that.
The top comment is, hey, you know how you always wanted a real diamond engagement ring? That's right, I bought you Stonehenge.
I think on his way out, it's 1915, so on his way out, horse and carriage. That's what they had back then, right? Let's just assume that's a yes.
Or maybe just a horse. I don't know.
He killed the horse. He killed the horse, and he's like,
ooh,
this is
your
not
favorite
good.
horse. Yeah.
I'm buying a rock.
What's the biggest rock I can find? Ooh.
Okay, Scott, I'm not sure. I'm afraid to say this. I'm not sure I bought a bad gift.
Oh, good for you.
Look at you, all high and mighty.
Yeah, look at Mr. I listen to my partner and actually pay attention to them.
But I will say, and this, shocker, gift giving is not my love language. That's something that you're good at. You're very thoughtful about it. You think long and hard.
Giggity.
About the gifts that you get people. And so I could see that as something meaningful for you to remember. Me, on the other hand, my love language.
What is it?
My love language, Scott, is quality time.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Willy recanted me with the story of his dating of his current beau, saying that they were going to go out and do something that evening, and she suggested they go see a movie. And Willy was like, "Oh, that I'd love to do that. But is it only because you know I like movies?" And she goes, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, that means you don't want to see a movie. We're not going to go see a movie. I want it to be something we both want to do."
Right. So I think spending that quality time meaningfully doing the things that we want to do is important. And sometimes I guess you could say acts of service. Like, I like cooking and doing other things for people. So that's also true. So NASA tweeted 46 minutes ago and said, we have an update. One image from the James Webb Space Telescope will be previewed today by President Biden at 5:30 Eastern Time.
Just to be honest with everybody, as of this moment, it's kind of a letdown. Not gonna lie, we wanted to be really excited, but we're still waiting, and we're just gotta keep doing our thing.
Speaking of doing things and expecting a different outcome, we're living in a fairly tumultuous time in the United States, and I think, better or worse, it is time for people to push boundaries. This week in r/news, there's a post that says a pregnant Texas woman was driving in the HOV lane and told the police that her unborn child counted as a passenger. Now, the jury is out, literally, on if this case is going to have any substance to our democracy, but I want our take now.
I think I brought it up in the past that it's a game. Now everybody's just playing games. I can't even put it into words how much I hate this, that it even had to happen, because we normally would read something like this and say like, oh, this is in Not the Onion. This is in Florida, where just people are trying crazy stuff to get out of tickets. But now it's a legit thing. This is what this person feels they have to do to get around the ridiculousness of the Roe v. Wade thing. If you're
100%.
There was a TikTok that said every human being is born female, and it's not up until maybe 9 days later that the X chromosome comes in and changes you to the male gender designation.
Right.
Which technically means that every man is a trans man.
Right. And to clarify, Scott and I don't believe this. We're just saying...
This was said by somebody else. Yeah, we are repeating.
What we're saying is that if you want to follow the logic of people that believe life starts at fertilization, if that is your stance, then you also have to believe all of these other things. It's not one or the other. You don't just get to pick or choose. I do really love the Comedy Central guy who goes out and interviews people at rallies. And
which one? Klepper?
Yeah.
Jordan Klepper? Yeah.
It was either him or another guy that's all over TikTok who was interviewing a guy who was like, hey, it says somewhere in your religious doctrine that it's a sin to masturbate, so we should stop that. And the guy's dressed as a priest, and he's like, whoa, I wouldn't go that far.
Prepare for more of this. This is coming down the pipeline en masse. I don't know about you, Willy, but the fact that in order to receive medical care, we might have to do what I think the Netherlands has done in the past and create a boat, a giant boat that can perform medical services that will be docked and will take people 12 miles out into international waters so that they can do things that you can't do within the contiguous United States or Alaska or Hawaii. It just seems wholly unnecessary and absolutely ludicrous.
Is that something that the Netherlands did first? What you're alluding to, for those people who live under a rock or you're new to this podcast, I guess, is this week there was a post that talked about that there's going to be a medical boat off the coast of Texas that will take people into international waters to perform abortions.
And if you don't want that, well, it's very easy to cancel that altogether. We just have to go back to the Supreme Court and get them to undo what they did.
Did you also see this week the stories that kept popping up after Brett Kavanaugh was out to dinner and just trying to enjoy his dinner? And then by the time they got to dessert, it was like, sorry guys, we need to abort this dinner. Leave through the back door because people are protesting.
Pun intended.
There's a
yes, I saw that story, and Pete Buttigieg, Secretary of Transportation, was on Fox News and gave a very eloquent response to that, which I agree with him wholeheartedly. To summarize, it was public figures should always be free from violence, from threats, from any sort of bodily harm, but public figures should never be free from criticism. You made this decision that affects half of the country in
or
terms
more.
of political standpoint. Oh, hold on. Yeah. In terms of a political standpoint, and affects the entire country from a livelihood standpoint.
Right.
I don't know what you were expecting if you didn't expect this. Let's just put it that way.
It's all a diversion, Scott. One, it's a two-part diversion. First part, change the batteries in the birds. They always need to do something when they die. Okay? Number two is they do know what the unidentified flying objects are, and they're trying to cover it up. It's a diversion. It's a pivot. It's a magic trick put on by David Blaine.
Sleight of hand. It's an illusion. Tricks are done by whores, Willy.
Excuse me? So, Scott, we just finished watching the presentation, if you would call it that, of the first sneak peek photo from the James Webb Space Telescope that came out live as we were recording this episode. And they just tweeted and said, "Sneak a peek at the deepest and sharpest infrared image of the early universe ever taken. All in a day's work for the James Webb Telescope. Literally capturing it took less than a day. This is Webb's first image released as we begin to #unfold the universe."
I think that this is one of the coolest images I have ever seen. And when you look at it, you can't help but be amazed that every single point of light that we see on there is a galaxy.
Divert your eyes to a specific spot. So if you're looking at the photo with both of us, but for you, Scott, I'm assuming you have the image up, right?
Yeah.
The big burst in the center.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the right of that and stay on that line. And towards the right of the image, you see a flat galaxy. Look at, that to me looks the size of the Milky Way galaxy, and it's just in that photo.
But that little speck right next to it is also a galaxy.
Okay.
And the one right below it, and the one right above it, and the one above that.
Go up. Do you see the burst that's coming out of the circular thing that looks like it would be a black hole shooting like the line out of the top and the bottom?
Right. That could be a black hole ejecting solar material. We'll hopefully find out more tomorrow. But it's kind of like r/place in terms of like the more you study it, just the more fascinating things you find in the tapestry.
If you go to nasa.gov, they will link to the photo, and the image is enormous. I mean, you can blow this thing up to take up your entire screen and just... I know we're being a little extra about this, but to me, this is so fascinating to see all of these galaxies.
On one hand, this is really the only thing that matters because it's where we came from. Like, it's going to help us better understand why humanity exists. And on the other hand, I get that it's very cosmic. It's not like on the ground. We have plenty of other things to worry about here. But just for a brief moment, if you can set everything else in the world aside and just think about for a second how small and insignificant we are in the grand scheme of things. It might just make you think twice about those earthly worries, and there's plenty of terrible things out there, of course, but maybe, just maybe, we can set those aside someday and join the conversation of the cosmos.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today.
Find more of us on our socials, and we'll see you next week.